Did you do the AMG background? No.
Well,
You did the black.
I'll get it. Go ahead.
Okay.
You're
All
letting
right.
me see you now.
Hey, everybody. It's, let's see, let me get this. Randall, um, Phillips, and Jim Whining here. And this is Jim. And we're going to be talking about two really important funds that Acts Ministry maintains. And let's get the AMG spinner going up there, too. Can we do that, Matt?
It's up there.
Okay, I didn't see it. Anyway, um, we have two funds that we're going to talk about, and one of the funds is called the Medical Relief Fund, and that is a fund that was designed for the purpose of helping people who had emergency medical procedures or informations costs that they were going to have that was not covered by insurance or any type of insurance. And the other one was the Helping Hands Fund, which has been around for, I guess, about 5 years. And it helps people who need supplements that otherwise they could not take the chemical or pharmaceutical type medications that works for their medical conditions such as PTSD, autism, etc. So there's two different funds going on, and I've asked Randall, who is the husband of the late Jackie Scott, who actually was pretty much the leader in establishing these two funds for Acts Ministry. And I've asked him to start off and share a little personal experience and how that relates to these funds. Randall?
Hi, Jim. Jackie, about a year ago, called me up and said that she had slept funny, that her shoulder was hurting. And I told her, well, take some Tylenol or something. And that didn't do any good. And it just got worse and worse. And over the course of a month or so, she went to various doctors and the upshot was, turned out that she had a very rare form of cancer called epithelioid angiosarcoma. It's a cancer that affects the lining of a blood vessel. And in her case, it was in her shoulder, and it was very close to nerves and blood vessels. And so they couldn't operate on it. And it was diagnosed too late for her to get radiation or for chemo to do her much good. And in January, we lost her. The reason she didn't get good medical care earlier was because she didn't have insurance. When we found out that she did have cancer, I called practically every major cancer center, MD Anderson, the Mayo Clinic, just a couple that I think of off the top of my head. Called everyone I could find, and the first question they always asked is, how are you going to pay for this? And Jackie didn't have a way to pay for it. She didn't have insurance. For the last several years, she had worked 2 different jobs, both of which were 1099 jobs, with no insurance, no perks of any kind, and she wasn't covered. You would think these days with, Obamacare and Medicaid and Medicare and all of that people wouldn't fall through the cracks, but people do fall through the cracks on a regular basis. And I remember not too long before we lost Jackie, I was talking with her. And she said to me, the one thing I've learned from all of this is poor people don't get good medicine. And that's just not right. It's just not right that in our country, with everything that we're supposed to have to cover this, that people like Jackie could fall through the cracks, that what they need, this wasn't a frivolous thing. This is a very serious issue, and she couldn't get the help that she needed, and we lost her.
Yeah. So what did um, the tell me about the idea and the purpose then that she had behind that medical relief?
The Medical Relief Fund is supposed to be a gap measure. Um, Medicare, for example, uh, will only pay 80% of any procedure, and that leaves you with 20%. Um, that can be a huge bill just all by itself. That 20%. Uh, Medicaid doesn't cover everything. Um, they have what they call a spin down, which very often is far more than someone in a medical situation where they're not able to work can pay. I've been in that situation myself, and I, uh, I I spoke with Jim after Jackie died, and we started this fund um, in memory of Jackie. She was a wonderful person. I've never met a better person. She
Yeah.
spent a great many years working for Acts Ministry in various capacities, and all of her life she was doing the Lord's work in one way or another. And we want to honor her. We want something lasting as a memorial for Jackie. And Jackie would she she was one of these people that would have given you anything if she thought you were hungry. She would have given you the last bite of food she had. That's just how she was. And we want to do something that would continue that giving spirit that she had.
Well, not only did she instigate the establishment of the Medical Relief Fund, I'm going to add something else that happened, maybe 5 years ago. Um, we had programs through the Veterans Church, and we had programs through our autism programs that emanated from Joseph Storehouse, one of our subordinates. And she, during the course of interviewing people and connecting with veterans and connecting with uh, parents and autistic children and autistic young adults, discovered that there was a significant number of people, veterans with PTSD and autistic children who were medicated with 5 and 8 medications a day, that were having remarkable results from everything from CBDs in a capsule form to a rub. And there are also some benefits from some of the other supplemental products, including berberine and aronia, that did not have the side effects that some people had taking products like metformin and some of the heavy drugs, anafranil, Depakote, lithium, and Prozac. So she came to me and said, hey, here's something we need to create. We need to create a Helping Hands Fund that responds to people who can't take customary medications. And we did that. I think it was somewhere around 2015 or 2016. We created the Helping Hands Fund. And it has helped pastors, it has helped children, not children, young adults over 18. It has helped veterans, and it has helped people with different types of arthritis. And that those medications, pardon me, those supplements have been instrumental. And I will freely admit that I purchase at full price, regular price, I purchase some of those products myself for my shoulder that has arthritis. It definitely helps, definitely. And there is Unlike some of these other medications that have unbelievable side effects, there's none. And Jackie was a major advocate of medical marijuana, and she was also an advocate for several of the supplemental programs that we had for autistic children, too. So, um, did you want to add something to that?
Just that sounds exactly like something Jackie would be involved in.
Yeah.
That, anything to help people.
These funds, you might ask, well, how much is in the accounts? Well, I don't have the book with me. In fact, it's in my office, but neither one of them have $1,000 in them. They've responded, believe it or not, both of them have responded to anywhere from 12 to 14 people a quarter. And that's amazing, especially with the very limited funds. But we're usually able to get the purchase of some of these items at significantly reduced price because they're nonprofit, because we are a nonprofit. I would like to encourage each one of you to consider. I'm making a jingle noise here somehow. I would like to, for each one of you who are listening to this program, who knows people who are in need of emergency medical relief. They may also be people who need um, some supplements that will handle their conditions much better without side effects than the typical pharmaceuticals, to think about giving to Axe Media Group. And it's very, very easy. All you have to do is go to axemediagroup.com, click on anywhere you see a PayPal button. And by the way, you don't have to have PayPal to donate. Then you don't have to. All you have to do is just click on that PayPal button, and then they'll say PayPal or debit or credit. And if you have no PayPal, you can click the debit or credit. Put in the amount, and then below that, you'll see the word for, and then you put in there, for example, the Medical Relief Fund, or you can put in Helping Hands Fund, either one. And put in an amount that's comfortable for you, and that would be meaningful for Acts Ministry. Those funds are specifically earmarked for those funds. They are reserved for calls on it that relate exactly to what the purpose is for those two funds. One is medical relief. That is things like a second opinion. It may well be the difference between a deductible and what's being paid by Medicaid or Medicare. And there's a variety. There also could be the cost of transportation expense or the cost of emergency equipment to handle their situation. I remember so well one of the first things that came right out of the box was a veteran who was coming home without legs, and they were needing a ramp for his front yard. And we were able to use some of our funds, and we had some people there in Springfield with itis Vertis who did the ramp, and he had a ramp literally the day after he showed up at his home. And that is exactly the kind of emergencies. And we want, the veterans. I do think the veterans hospitals are doing better, but still the benefits can take anywhere from 18 to 24 months before it ever hits their accounts. It's just a really better chance at a stimulus check than that. And but that's a good example of a medical emergency. And we've had, and a good example of a Helping Hands Fund is there are many people that cannot take Ritalin. And there's many people who can't take certain anti-inflammatories because it actually causes them more pain than the actual inflammation. And so we have different things like berberine, aronia that we are able to connect with, which are hard to find, by the way, in a pharmacy, in a grocery store. I went to 4 pharmacies this past weekend to try to find for a person who's been on the plan off and on for aronia, and you just cannot find it. It's just not available. You have to go overseas to get it, or on an internet market in California, Florida. So if you can support us, support either one of these funds, any amount is appreciated. Go to www.axmediagroup.com, click on the PayPal button, put in the amount that you can donate, and then below that, put for either one of the funds, Helping Hands Fund, Medical Relief Fund. We would appreciate it. We really would, because these funds will go to use for people that need the help. What do you think?
That's right, Jim.
Did you guys hear when he said, and it's really bothers me what he said. It like grades on my side. First, what he said that bothered me was poor people don't get medical attention. You know, if this is the richest country in the world, if this is the economically most advanced country in the world, why is it we don't have universal medical insurance? I don't get it. I mean, to me, that that should be. I know it's not a fundamental right, but that certainly should be an economic benefit of living in this country. Would be everyone has medical insurance, and I don't mean unusable, high deductible crud like that. I mean a down to earth, reasonable deductible medical insurance. And I'm not certain that's ever going to happen. Uh, I know when it was first tried with Hillary Clinton when she was, I think, Secretary of the State or something like that, and it flopped. And the Obama thing was a flop. And we just can't seem to put our arms around the concept of medical insurance for everybody. And the idea that poor people don't get medical insurance really bothers me in the land of opportunity. The second comment he made, and I say this sincerely, 990s. The reason why you're at 990, pardon me, a 1040, pardon me, a 1040.
Are you trying to say
independent contract, a 1040, right?
1099.
1099. I get that right. I should know that. A 1099 is because the employer can't afford to pay them the normal employee benefits, and including Social Security, disability, all that other stuff. So I don't understand why, if the employer is taxable or non-taxable, why at the end of the day a portion of the taxes that it does or does not pay can be given to that person. A person should not be penalized for serving and helping a nonprofit. And to me, that's exactly what it does. And then on an employer who is doing it for profit, seems like to me that issue should be resolved with somebody providing the medical insurance. That's just the way I see it. A for-profit versus a nonprofit. But in either event, somehow there has to be a way that there is medical insurance. That way they don't fall through the as Jackie did, fall through the network and not get any medical assistance. And as Randall and I were talking about, we watched her over the course of 18 months go from a vibrant, hardworking person who was dividing her time between a for-profit and a nonprofit, giving all of her efforts that she possibly could, to a person who had withered away and probably lost 70 pounds.
She lost 70 pounds in 4 months.
It's just pretty much incomprehensible. When I hear those words, I hope everyone that's listening to this show can put their arms around that and understand what that means, that we as a nation cannot help our weakest. What good are we with those others that we say we're helping? I don't know. But Jackie was one of the great servants in the Christian world, just a great servant. And she always was there helping others. And I think I said this earlier, probably to the detriment of her own health and her own attention. Randall, you have anything else to say?
I think that's it. Are we done here?
We're done.
All right.
We're done. Well, all we need is Matt to come in here and close us out. But let me just say this one last time, and I feel like I'm a walking commercial, but take time and go to our website, www.actsmediagroup.com. Go to that website and click on the PayPal button. Go to that, put in a donation amount, and then under the remarks or two, put down the fund that you want to be participating with, the Helping Hands Fund or the Emergency Relief Fund. Put that in there and make a contribution. If you'd like to mail in your check or donation of any form, you can also mail it to Acts Ministry, 4166 West Kearney, Kearney Street, and that is Springfield, Missouri, 65803. Again, that's Acts Ministry Incorporated, 4166 West Kearney, Kearney Street, and that is Springfield, Missouri, 65803. And we would appreciate if you have any questions or concerns or would like more information. Feel free to send me a Gmail at 4321acts, that's ACTS, at gmail.com. That's 4321acts at gmail.com. If you have any other questions or concerns, why, please feel free to send that on that email or to send your questions, contributions, whatever, to our address. And then, of course, you have it. You can also, you see this now on Facebook, on YouTube. We're also every day on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Daily Motion. So all of those platforms, along with our website, are available for you to see this video again or any of the other material that we have related to the Helping Hands Fund and the Emergency Relief Fund.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Randall.